Start call the order for the meeting. Who do we have on the, do you have anybody on Zoom?
Was there?
Rocco. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how
I don't
are
know
you?
what's going on with my camera again. I had this problem once before, but
Yeah,
I'll mess around with it.
okay, very good. I always forget this part. So we have to vote on this, right? Call the order?
Motion.
Yeah, I know. Someone make a motion.
Motion to commence at 7:02.
Need a second, right?
Second.
All these seconds. And now we'll do the roll call vote. We'll start on Zoom. Rocco?
Hi,
Right?
Yes.
Chris? Yep. Ann, Ally, Julianne, Nithya, Will, Ali, and Aaron. And Kimberly's joined us. I think you're on mute. Kimberly?
Oh, so no, I don't know if you guys were talking to me because I couldn't hear. My audio wasn't connected yet.
Okay. Welcome.
Hi, how was everyone?
Great. How are you? Hot.
Thanks. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Do we have any public on? No. Okay. Sorry. Steph. So we'll move on to item number 3, which is the meeting minutes approval. Everyone get a chance to review them?
Yep.
So the one question I had, I was reading the part of, I thought what Ed said, and I could be wrong, that we don't have to go back to the town council, but that you guys are just going to take, the administration just going to take care of, and that we don't go to the administration, but that you guys just take care of it.
Yeah, I thought in the notes I just said you guys can go and give updates. I thought that's what you guys kind
The
of.
town council.
Yeah.
But then maybe I misread it. I thought it said that we have to go to the town administrator, and I think you guys just take care of the administration. I may have just misread it.
I'll have to. My understanding, what was talked about last time was you make the call, but then we handle any internal stuff between myself and Steve.
Right, that we vote on it, and then it's in your bucket, and you guys handle it. Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
so it says here, Ed
Funding
Dombrowski
approval.
let the group know that this group can go to the town administrator for the funding approval for the ARPA Economic Development Council projects.
Right, so we wouldn't go to the, you guys have it, like we've approved it in the council, and you just handle the administration. I think it might just be the go-to.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll remove that.
And then one other part, like you take amazing notes.
Yeah, I'm gonna start taking as good of notes then.
Yeah. Seriously, if you wanted to do it like the finance committee does it, where it's more just tracking the votes, like
Sure.
that would be,
Okay,
because these are amazing, but because it's being recorded, I think folks can just go in.
yeah, no problem.
There's one part where it went, but, which you just, you went to take out the last sentence.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't know if maybe sometimes that happens to me, it like erases on me. It's like you're done talking.
Do you know where that was?
It's like right at the end of one of the,
At the end of one paragraph.
yeah, right before one of the next, I think it might be.
Oh, right here,
Yeah.
under economic development, ARPA funds discussion. Third paragraph down under 1,
Okay.
where it says Chris Barrett asked.
That, okay.
It's just some of mine. You could just maybe period. Unless you have. Anyone have any comments? Rocco or Kimberly, any comments on the notes, meeting minutes?
I wasn't present at the last meeting, so no comments.
Rocco, were you here? No. No, okay. Someone want to make a motion to
Motion to accept last meeting's minutes with the recommended changes.
Ally. And seconds. All in favor?
I'll second.
E.
Were you here last week, Rocco?
I was not.
Oh, so I don't think you can second on that.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
You have to abstain.
So you folks on Zoom are abstaining? Yes, yes. Rocco, yes?
I guess I am, because I can't vote, right? Because I wasn't at the meeting last week, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris? Chris, do we have to do roll call?
No.
Correct? No.
Nope.
Even though people on Zoom? Okay. So all in favor? Yeah.
So I think because they're on Zoom, I think.
Because they're on Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Chris?
Much at once.
Yes.
Ann?
Mhm.
Ally?
Yes.
Joanne, yes? Okay. Great. Okay, item number 4, everyone's going to provide some updates. Did everyone get a chance to look at the survey?
Yeah, so I'll just start with that. So I went and put this business survey together, just because I don't want myself or this group to be making assumptions of what the business community may want for funding or programming moving forward with these ARPA funds. So I pulled this survey, some of the questions from a survey we did back in 2020 during COVID, then added a few other things. Again, I thought this would be a nice baseline and kind of information for us to make any decisions moving forward for programs. The facade and sign, we did that because we did get the earmark for that, and I think a facade and sign program is always welcome to businesses that want to make, and property owners that want to make improvements. So that's why we moved forward with that. And then the digital marketing, why we did that was just because it was so popular in the past. But after that, I'm not really sure, where businesses want to see the funds be used. So I thought this was a good way for businesses to feel like they have a say in the programming and the money. So I don't know if anyone has any feedback, questions. I just wanted to run it by you guys before I sent it out, which I might send it out tomorrow. And then we can review it in our July meeting and kind of take it from there and back up information as we make decisions.
You have an email list, is that?
I have an email list. I'm going to work with Jen McDonald to get it out through website, social media. I'll work with the chamber, get it to them, work with, send them to nonprofits as well. Also go door to door. I know last time we got about 52 survey responses through it, which was a mix of all the things I just said above, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping to get a similar, if not more, of a response this time. So if anyone has recommendations on outreach as well, I'm open.
Do you need foot traffic to help you?
It might, yeah, I might, yeah. So I think tomorrow I'll send it out to my contact list, come up with a game plan with Jen when she can put it out on the website, and then maybe next week. Even the one I have here, the one I printed out, which is basically just PDF of the MailChimp one I put together, is actually not that bad. I could probably just use this I had right in front of me. So it's anonymous too. So they don't have to put their contact information. And yeah,
Because the three of us are kind of downtown.
yeah, okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can we, in the bullet, the paragraph, because we don't have $1 million anymore, right? So we've allocated, can we put, like, what you just stated, can we add, like, we were allocated $1 million, 400,000 has gone to this program, 60 has gone to this program, so that folks aren't like, where's the money gone? Like, if it's already been allocated, I think it's good to let folks know.
Probably just,
Mhm.
Well, do we know how much money is available for us to use?
yeah, it's around 500. So I would maybe say $500,000. So it's $500,000 around, 500,000 is still available to be used.
The reason why I was thinking if we did what we've already done, it's a good way to show that we're working on it already. I've actually made progress. And then if stuff comes out of here, you don't have to Like you don't have to keep updating it maybe.
The way to put it would be, town council allocated $1 million. We have committed to this point
Mhm.
X amount,
There you go.
350
Yeah.
towards various projects,
460.
460.
Yeah, I think that's,
Yeah,
because
that'd be
it should
great.
be, because they did allocate 1 million, so
Right, but we've already,
that's good.
Okay.
I got a thought on the optional piece of this. Do you think it might be a good idea just to have contact information in parentheses, put optional? Just so that, if they wanted to give the business name or an email address, we can build some data that way. If you need to get in touch with someone, or I don't know, just an idea.
Sure.
do you find when you do the surveys, because it's optional, so they can do it if they feel like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. And then you have your contact info in this?
And the thing I send out, yeah.
Yes. Really,
I'd be
any,
happy to flyer, run around and pass out all that good stuff.
Actually did have a question, sorry. So the other option, is there a space for long?
Yes, I think it's just the way that it printed. I'm trying to pull it up now. That I think it pulls up something, but if it doesn't, I'll make sure I add.
and then, or you had a sense of, you wanted this out there for a certain amount of time, and then you got,
Yeah, I mean, I think, 3 to 4 weeks is good. A long time, actually. But, with it being summer and a lot going on, I think 3 to 4 weeks should be good. Yeah. Maybe close it right before we meet next, and I can kind of analyze the data to provide for you guys next time.
any other updates, or, so we're all good with this? We're good with Erin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other updates? Just same stuff, plugging on. The other stuff I have is really, I guess, really has to do with the ARPA, so I don't know if that falls under this or the next conversation we're having. But just doing the same things. For the facade and sign, which I know isn't an item on here, they're flyers now. I'm just finalizing the application with Sherry Dalton. We were just going to do an online application, but now we're going to do it through a portal that we have. So, we ask people to make sure that they're not behind on their taxes, all their permits are right. So it's better if we do it through this portal that we have through the town, so all the departments can check it off. It makes it a little better. So she's finishing that for me, and then I should be ready for it to go out next week. But these flyers should be good.
2 people that are looking for the
Okay,
application.
you can take
One I
those.
think you talked to already.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I did talk to.
People I talked to today that are looking for the applications.
Yep. Yeah, so you can take the flyers. I just asked that you maybe not hand them out till next week. So I can print out more too. But the application should be live by early next week, and then I'll make a hard push then. So. And trying to think anything else that's really been going on economic development.
That's a question, but it's, so it's people submit receipts to you, correct?
It's reimbursable. Yes.
So the folks that Chris has chatted with, they can go ahead and,
I would rather them fill out the application first.
so do you give them,
We might not give them all the money.
so you approve them first and then they submit the applications? Do they put in a dollar amount?
They put in the amount that they're expecting the project to cost, how much they're asking for the town, up to 50%, which I'm assuming most will do 50%, and then how much they're able to kick in.
Oh, I mean, if they're looking for 50%, they have to kick in 50%.
Exactly, yeah.
And we're back to, this is reimbursable money. So they need out of pocket, spend
Exactly.
the price.
100%.
And at what point is an application approved? Like, what do you foresee being a timeline? I fill out this application next Monday. When do I understand that it's approved?
So, I mean, that falls on me. I couldn't give you a definite answer. It's not gonna be a month or anything like that. I'm hoping to be a week or two. Again, they have to I need to make sure that they're up to date on all their taxes.
Absolutely.
And then.
It's got to be properly vetted.
Yeah,
To that vetting point, is that copy of, a receipted, paid, invoice for the work? Or is this just, I paid it?
no, I need documentation.
Do you know what the documentation is going to
Yeah.
consist of?
Yeah, I can tell you right now. So when you go to apply, on our website already, it's
Okay.
live, actually. You need to have, actually, no, it's on the top of my head, but you need to have, photos of your existing conditions, plan or a rendering, an owner authorization, signing off, detailed budget broken down. This is all things you have to upload. A schedule for your project, quote documents from either an engineer, designer, or contractor, and any other applicable attachments. And then at the end, they have to submit, it's written here, their invoice, showing that it was paid by whoever they use for the services and what needs to be paid for.
So are we looking at who the contractor is? Or are you looking at, how much are you, you just said, engineering or plans or architecturals? Any of that part of,
Who am I sent, who?
meaning as part of the application?
Yeah, that, they need to submit those, yeah.
So does that stuff go to the building inspector?
Yep.
Yeah, so the building inspector is gonna look all that stuff over. It's almost like getting a building.
I mean, it's just like, just getting, I mean, they still have to get the same building permits, but I think for the sake of making sure we know where our money is going, that.
So to that end, absent a building permit, we're not going to do this. So in lieu of you vetting all that documents.
It's not just me, it's going through this portal where.
No, I understand, but, for the actual design and build stuff, shouldn't a building permit be sufficient?
I think I want to make sure that they are abiding by all I guess I'm kind of the middleman, making
Yeah.
sure they're following all the sign overlay district,
Yeah.
the sign bylaw. If they're not, then they need to go to the zoning board of appeals. So I'm kind of directing them one way or the other. Yeah.
All right, so part of that vetting is to make sure you're in compliance with
Yep.
Zoning and
Yep. The
overlay district stuff.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate, do we cap it, like what they can get?
We ended up deciding not. I think it's a discretionary. So if someone asks for like 200,000, that's something I'd probably bring to this group and be like, okay, are willing to fund 100 based on they could probably do this. Smaller projects, I would probably just signs and things like that, some lighting, but larger facade projects, I'd probably bring back to this board.
So some of those larger projects, would there be disbursements? In other words, they did some of the work and they've got receipts, so we pay them and then they do more work and submit receipts and then we pay them again, or is it like all or
I
nothing?
could do it that way, as long as they paid it and they don't go over their amount that they allocated for the project.
Yeah, I think that's a good
And then if they
idea.
go over, that's on them. They have to pay for, yeah.
Right.
That's, not my problem. We offered, we agreed to
That's, they sign off.
$38,000 for your project.
Right.
And it cost you 138. Well, good luck with the rest of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not the one signing the agreement with the contractor, they are.
Can I jump to something? Because you're gonna have, like, we have just given you a ridiculous amount of work. So we had chatted a little bit about potentially maybe using some opera funds to get you some help.
Yeah.
Can we chat? Because like, as you're talking about this, I think everyone's eyes are opening, going, oh, she's not gonna be able to do anything else.
I've run a program like this before. I think it sounds a lot more than it is. It's more coordinating with the departments and things like that.
So what if folks think about maybe looking at allocating some funds for like an intern or a contractor for the summer or something like that to kind of help Erin with some of the
I guess
Yeah.
bites?
the first question would be, would that help? Or are you training an intern, or are you spending too much time getting someone up to speed? Unless you have someone in mind that can do that.
So that's where I always get torn with interns. We talked about this the other day in co-ops. I think help is really great and I would never turn down help. I'd be more interested in doing a co-op program than an internship right now in my time. The high school kid sounds great. I had someone help me 2 years ago, did a lot of work. But I think I want to always make it worth that person's while too. And so that's why I would rather this right now would not be a good time, but maybe if we start prepping for the fall, it'd be good for that. I don't have the capacity right now to work with a co-op, but in the fall, I could get projects lined up like this. I don't see this really going crazy until the midsummer and summer. Yeah. Because you see the work these people have to do prior to submitting anything. They have to get renderings, they have to get quotes. So I imagine the grants will start coming in around August or so.
So what my
And I
thought was,
assume that we can revisit this, if it becomes, more than manageable, then maybe we can revisit this. Depends on the volume.
so what my thought was, is that as we're looking at allocating funds for ideas and projects, if this is something that would be of help, we could say, let's put in a bucket, whatever, 10, 15, 20, however much you think for assistance, because then we could just, we can just add to the list, right? So that we're not getting to the end and going, oh, we forgot to do that. Like if this is something that we all think, if you think, then we could at this point
Do we
say,
have an expectation of how many applications we're gonna receive for this?
I don't know. In the past, we've only had, I haven't had this much money to spend on a program. In Lowell, it was kind of like we'd get $20,000, only be allowed for a certain number of applicants, and then we get more money just depending on the fiscal year. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what the type of projects people do too, and how the money gets spent.
Sure.
So.
If you get overwhelmed, we can always revisit it, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would be on board with a co-op come the fall. And that's something I'd want to talk to Samantha Elliott too from our planning that just started, because maybe there's some overlap too. But I know it'd be pulling from economic development, but we work really closely together. But I'm not against the idea. It's just right now I can't I wouldn't have the time to dedicate to someone right now. But if I had some more time to think about it, definitely. That's where I'm at.
any other updates?
No, that's it.
What the digital?
So I've been talking to some folks about running the programs. I took your advice about using different ones. I'm still thinking that through more because you're talking about a lot on your plate. That's a lot to handle, like that many different consultants. So I actually reached out to a local woman in town who started a marketing company that's been working with small businesses. So we had a discussion last week. She's putting a proposal together for me. So she lives in Wakefield. I reached out to one other group in Wakefield. I haven't heard back from them yet. And so it's going to move forward. My timeline for that is hoping to have something in the works by the fall, like time school kicks off September. And I'm hoping to do 4 sessions, kind of like we talked about last time, AI, kind of higher level type stuff that maybe businesses that have social media under control. So I'm figuring out the best way to run the program. I just think having all the different consultants might be difficult for me to manage, but I'm talking to people trying to figure out what works best.
Number 5, the opera funds discussion. We'd started the new business funding.
So do you want me to kind of run through that again? So I don't even know how far back you want me to go with this. These are the folks that ran, if you didn't see it last year downtown, they did the pop-ups with the Inspire Cafe, who are now opening a store downtown. But they did Slush last summer as a pop-up with 2 little trailer type things. And the second trailer had a local woman that sold jewelry and another woman that sold candles. I got this through a grant, through a REDO grant, which is a regional economic development organization grant to get this started. So it was at no cost of the town. And they were there from June to September, and the group that helped me organize it is called Up Next or Project Pop-Up. And so it's a woman-owned business. I believe they're based out of Newton, that area there, but they've really gotten a hold on the whole pop-up, both, vegan storefronts as well as the pop-ups we did here in town. And so I met with them about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago at this point. We've continued having conversations and talked about potentially doing a year-long activation pop-up in one of the vacant storefronts downtown. They gave me a quote. I've looked around. It seems like they're really the ones that do all of it. They're doing work in Lowell. They've done in Brookline, Melrose. What's another community they've worked in? A ton of them. And so, what I was proposing is something I've heard is how do we activate our vacant storefronts? And so that's where we talked about this idea of doing a year-long pop-up and having different people come in, local people as well as people from the region to sell their goods. So it could be 2 or 3 vendors in there at a time. And be there for like 3 months at a time, and then they switch, 3 months, switch. I just thought it'd be a fun way to drive some foot traffic downtown and get some new businesses in. So that's overview. I think I sent this around in the last email, sent it the last few times. It's around around $100,000. This also includes some training. We've talked about this as well. Rent, utility, event stipends. So they do events as well. These people that help organize events, marketing, build out fixtures, signage, and then consulting and management fee is the big one. But we give them the money and they handle the rest. And I just have some say in who the people are that go there, because I'd always like to use local folks first. And so that's that.
Is there any kind of success rate or return on this money? Because I think that's a lot.
How do you measure success?
Right, that's my question.
I mean, I would say yes.
Are people going with, are there actually businesses popping up? I mean, Inspire, I feel like doesn't really count as a pop-up that was successful, because I think they were going towards that spot. I think the concept for Inspire was going to fly, whether it was generated by a pop-up. So I just, wonder how many businesses actually will end up in a storefront from this kind of program. And I would like to think they had that information.
They
If
do.
they're the company that's doing this, how many, all right, we've done this, and you just referenced 6 or 8 towns. You've done 50 pop-ups, has it generated 3 businesses? Has it generated 10?
So Melrose, I know their one down there I get confused with another. Oh, paper and clay or paper.
Yeah. Paper.
Is that paper and clay? They did start as a pop-up down in Melrose. Now they have a permanent storefront right next door. And that started through a program like this. I know in Lowell, there's been, I think, one that they did a pop-up is now staying and opening a storefront there. I would say, and I'm sure there's others.
But I mean, I guess that's one of the questions I don't want you to answer.
They did tell me, but I haven't.
We're offering out, $111,000. I'd love to know what they perceive is their success rate.
Erin, did you get any feedback last year from, not maybe separate from Inspire, but any of the other businesses that use the pop-up? Did you get any feedback from them?
I did, the jeweler, their name's escaping me right now.
I know her first name's Lindsay.
Yes, Nancy. Oh my gosh. Also, I talk to her all the time.
Oogle Boogle.
Ooly Booly.
Yep.
That would
be something, yes.
I mean, she said it was successful. I think she's a working mom. The hours were a little different. She shared the space with the candle. She has no storefront here, but she really enjoyed, she said, doing it. She would, keep her in mind if you do something moving forward again. I know, she's popped up at different workshops and things like that. And then the candle woman, I didn't get to know her as well because her hours were really wonky, unfortunately. But I think the jewelry out of the two did really well, because they were set up around one of the holidays and sold a bunch, I think during 4th of July and stuff. So think if I went back in my emails, I'm pretty sure she was very happy with it.
Mhm.
But I couldn't speak for the candle.
We have a space in mind.
I do, yeah. Yep.
And they're on board?
I'm not gonna ask them until I know, you know. I've asked them if they'd be interested, and they're always open to different ideas, but I haven't committed anything to them yet.
Um, So if it's for the space, because that's what I was thinking, is if you have the space, so do we pay them, do they get paid market rent? Like what's the,
I believe they try to work with them to subsidize the rent. I think if I remember correctly in the phone call I had with them, they try to get the rent, they pay them some rent, but hope that the owner will subsidize the rent as well. And then the small businesses pay money towards these folks that go towards the rent as well. And that's what the people did last year too, for the pop-ups as well.
so what Mike thought is with some of the businesses that downtown where they've not necessarily been open to engaging. Is that fair? So I'm hesitant on this one. I love the idea of like one of the big spaces and doing like a market. So if you had like 10 vendors and they could go in there and be a market, because then I think, I don't know, you know the space, the owners better than I do. If it's, we're gonna have whatever, 5, 10 vendors in here, they're each gonna pony up X amount. You've got this already allocated. I would think that folks who maybe haven't been as open to really engaging would be more willing to engage. And then I think to your point, the ROI on it, if you get 10 and it's 100,000, then you're like, oh,
You should hit
you should.
30%.
But you're potentially, the potential is there, right?
Right.
The potential is there.
At least I would think that if someone's going to go through this and take the money, and you would like to think there's a success rate and they end up in a storefront on Albion Street or a storefront on Princess Street or a storefront on, maybe they can't afford Main Street, but you'd like to think they show up somewhere in town. Again, is it a third? Is it 2 out of the 10?
And driving the foot traffic, so you'd have the other businesses around maybe being more, because if it's really more vendors in there and more like a marketplace, then I could see the foot traffic coming in and maybe going into some of the other businesses and really
When you say a market, are you thinking like one day a week thing or?
set up stations. Like,
No, I know what you mean, but I'm just, that's different than a pop-up.
Kind of.
Yeah, I know
Pop-up is rotating. So
yeah. You would have 12 businesses throughout the year. Yep, and 3 at a time.
So 3 at a time in the space for 90 days. And how big's the space you're envisioning?
Less than 2,000, 1,500, yeah.
Do you think there's anybody out there with more space downtown that would look at 5 at a time? Or fit 5 at a time, or does that not kind of fit what's?
The thing is, so you have to fill it. You don't want, say 5 or 6, and then you can only fill 3, you know what I mean? And you have like empty spots.
Yeah, cart and horse kind of thing.
but don't we have, like we had someone who wanted to be downtown and they couldn't work with the owner and they were gonna do a tap room or whatever. So I think my understanding is that there are folks who want to come downtown Wakefield. And if it's the pop-up where they come in and they're sort of using the space, instead of paying for 5,000 square feet, they have a station that's more affordable and it falls in the model that these folks do. Or maybe it's not a pop-up per se. The example I always think of is in Malden, the Gallery 57, know the gallery? So they went into a space and they worked with the owner and the city came in and they really helped them. And they eventually got to the point where now that's their permanent place. Very similar to what you're describing. But they had a ton of help from the city. And they had an owner who was really interested in helping. The owner was an artist, so they really liked the idea of it. I'm just sort of wondering about some of the challenges that we're facing already downtown. Are they going to be what is needed to really make this successful in some of the spaces downtown.
I'll leave it up to you guys.
I like the idea of a market. It's a cool idea. From a retail leasing perspective, it adds a constraint of, like competing businesses, somebody who wants to sell widgets next to somebody else who sells widgets. And so up next, like when they're pairing people together, that might limit. So, like limiting to even 2 or 3 at a time might make it easier than 5 that would have definitely conflicting business plans being right next to each other.
We did this last year. I mean, how did you find the people that were interested in the pop-ups?
So I worked up next to put it out there, and then I worked with Jen too to put out a call for applicants in the area. I think I sent it to the farmers market folks as well. Yeah, I think we just sent it out to as many people as we knew, both locally, and then Project Pop-Up sent it out to the folks that they had on their database as well. And then we kind of, me and the Project Pop-Up people went through and picked the ones, again, that would work well together. And then Inspire kind of came in and, we just thought from a community perspective, that just made sense. And then
I didn't know if like you had a list already kind of put together of people that would fit this mold.
Yeah, I have an,
Like,
yeah.
We reach out to them first to see if people would be interested in something like
Yeah.
this and see how many we get before we kind of.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that, because I know there's a number of times, I even think about like the Mary Lyon did a pop-up, the American, I'm not sorry, the Albion Cultural Exchange last year, and a lot of businesses were there, and a lot of them don't even have storefronts, a lot of women-owned businesses, selling different things, so, yeah.
Could we do it in the Albion Cultural? Because then you're sort of taking the,
That's like a one-day market thing, it couldn't be something that lives there full time.
It out.
They have stuff there all the time, yeah. So that would have to be like a special event type thing. I mean, doesn't mean that we can't use these funds to do a market quarterly with different folks at like the Albion Cultural Exchange instead, and to drive people downtown. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a market out there for it locally and regionally. Let's see.
Does Up Next get involved in trying to secure the space at all? Or is
Yes.
that on you?
Mhm. Nope.
So Up Next is on them. So I would assume if we're looking at, and again, I like the idea of, 3,000 or 4,000 square feet of space with 10 businesses in there. Is that a model that Up Next has used in the past, or are they strictly, 1 or 2 spots?
I don't have the answer for that right now.
And I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but I think, if we're spending a good portion, 111 is not, minimal. Love to see, 3 or 4 businesses make it out of that.
Mhm.
And, if you do that market kind of concept in a large space, it should create
food vendors.
downtown foot traffic beyond
Correct.
what's there.
Because you would get food, you would get. I'm going to check on Zoom because we tend to leave you folks out. Want to jump in on the,
I like the idea of a bigger space with more tenants, although I also agree that there may be some competing situations with that, but I can envision like a food hall or something like that, or a food court type of setup. That kind of thing, which is always good to have. I don't know, but I like it. I like the idea.
Yeah, food is always hard. I'll put that out
I
there.
mean, I think the food court was not, we're not looking for food, but at that kind of setup where we're
Yeah.
creating that type of
Exactly.
atmosphere with multiple vendors in a space, not necessarily.
Exactly. Not
not
necessarily food.
Food, but
You're right. Yep.
in.
That type of atmosphere.
Kimberly, do you have something you want to add?
I really don't have an opinion either way. I'm also sorry, trying to feed my baby right now. She was.
That's all right, pop it. To add her as an attendee. Would they come in? Because we're asking you all these questions and really.
Yeah, I can see if they'll come in
Yeah.
next meeting. Yep.
Because then we can ask them sort of some of the questions that.
Okay.
I think that would be fabulous.
I mean, just so you guys know, if we were to do a year-long one, we have to like decide this summer, like, next meeting.
Hence, they're gonna make an appearance in front of us.
Is there any way before next meeting too, we could kind of reach out to some?
Yeah,
that
so
we have in
I
mind
was gonna
for you?
send you, if you haven't had a chance to check out their website yet, they highlight, you know, the different municipalities they've worked in, what the brands have been that have been there. I'd be more than happy to send you, if you guys want to do it, or I'll reach out, I've talked to the folks in Lowell, let's talk to folks in Melrose about it. But if you guys would like to reach out to, I can send you a list of, you know, people to reach out to.
I have no problem doing that, Erin, if you want to send it.
Okay, all right.
From the 8 breweries that I've been to and pitched our town, everybody likes the pop-up idea. And then obviously to have the ability to have a more firmer foothold here on the town if everything works well, right? One of the ideas that I was actually talking to one of the general managers of a brewery is that you could have a pop-up shop with 3 or 4 breweries that don't kind of battle on their kind of variety. And they also suggested that you could have a seasonal pop-up situation where every like spring, basically every part of the year is represented by a different flavor of pop-up shops at the location. You could have one go, you know, as spring approaches, there's more gardening, more people getting excited about the nice weather coming, et cetera, then kind of like a beachy summer aspect to it that works into a fall Halloween aspect that goes to Christmas, and then it just keeps on going around infinitely. You know, you can put people, different like, all different kinds of variety of people in there, whether it be really crafty, whether it be jerky, hot sauce, whatever. And that's worked in different parts of the country as well. The pop-up, there's just a lot of questions. So we have the Cafe Nero flyer that, or breakdown of why come to Wakefield. Is there a way that we could kind of, like, is that the way that we are kind of romancing their company to come here? We have to sell ourselves, they like Wakefield and they come here, or is that just a kind of an example?
They are like, who are you?
Nero, like that.
Oh, so I mean, I reached out to them just through a contact that I knew and
Okay.
said, I'd love to talk to you guys. He came, I put that together for him, like why you should come here as kind of a presentation for him.
And it's pretty easy to do? Doesn't take long, okay, because that would be
Yeah, at this,
sizzle to sell them, just to kind of give them an idea.
Really a whole marketing piece we should be putting together anyways for our businesses.
Right, and that's kind of the second thing I wanted to bring up today. These meetings obviously are super beneficial and we all get on the same page. As the subcommittee that we're in, I think it would be beneficial to have little less formal meetings to get together to bounce ideas off each other, because I don't know still enough commercial property to pitch to a brewery, to pitch to an owner, even if it's like something that's working really well in the South Shore they want to bring up here. Which space would you consider, Mr. Strong, to recommend to me? I have no idea. Not being like commercial real estate whiz either, but to be able to have just, whether it be a running list, literally walking around Wakefield and getting a list of all the vacant properties would be helpful. Just to be able to serve them up whatever the size they want, the location. Because we have, 53 empty storefronts and we can fill 9. We're going in the right direction of bringing more business into the town, rather. So the pop-up shop has been getting a lot of traction. That was basically what I wanted to bring up, and I think it's pretty cool.
Pop up for breweries to pop up?
Oh, so not just pop-up for breweries, but like I said, the idea of having a large space enough to have between 3 to 10 different vendors in it, but they don't have to commit to the entire year or, an extended period of time. It can, once the word gets out, people want to come back next year, bring their handcrafted ornaments for Christmas or whatever it may be. Maple syrup, or, there's so many different ideas of different people, and obviously having to reach out through social media and all that good stuff is definitely going to be the best way to kind of corral that. You know, and there's also different types of businesses in other local areas like Buckaloo's in Melrose, which we could really use one down here because not alone are all their, you know, different fun, tasty things available, but they also offer a good beer selection. There's nothing in Wakefield to go to. I have to go to all surrounding towns to find anything that's good. And it's just like, it would be nice to have something that offers a lot of different aspects like that. Or Tin Buck in Reading. Friends of Pam over there, she's a sweetheart. And there's not really, there is a place down here that's kind of similar to that, but, you know,
And you also
People-
have Treehouse in Tewksbury. Have you been there?
I
Place is
have been there. I
amazing.
went for my birthday. It was quite fun.
It's amazing. in
But
there.
they are so saturated right now. They're not looking to open anything until 2026. And Tewksbury is only 18 minutes away. So there's no way they're going to open one here. But I'm trying to
that's
kind of
true.
corral someone of somewhat that level, like top 5
Mhm.
brewery in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut.
So Aaron, there's, my understanding of breweries, they have to be in a certain section of town, correct? Like they,
Yeah, or they'd have to get a special permit.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
so the area, I believe that was targeted was Audubon.
Audubon was an area because it allows it, industrial type areas. Yeah, that's technically the.
I like that.
Should focus on that.
Yeah. Breweries like the kind of, you know, steel, cold environment.
Yeah.
That's cost effective.
Like the night shift.
So
in
how far
Everett.
along are you with this? Do you actually have connection?
I've been striking out up to this point in time. I've gotten a lot of interest. I'm getting better at it, you know, basically cold calling and pitching to these people. And obviously she has lots of,
No, but are you
helpful.
calling Erin and having her, like, I get
I've been giving her name out. She'll reach out
for you to be on a call or,
on Evelyn, probably when it gets to a certain level.
okay.
Yeah. You know, I'm still farming right now.
Okay.
I don't know if this is, sorry, can we go back to the original thing about like the pop-ups? I think those two go very nicely together and not with just this group, but I think in general, like when you're doing pop-ups, a lot of this stuff is event-based too. So like you're talking about seasonal, like gardening and things like that. You have like a seasonal pop-up with certain types of beer or wine or whatever, more event-based. And so, you know, maybe this pop-up doesn't make sense for a vacant space in downtown, but like you're going back to the Albion Culture Exchange, maybe there's a way that we can support our smaller businesses. I mean, we can't use this money to,
I think the pop-up idea is great. What I'm concerned about is being able to actually get it down, because the AmeriCall does it, right? They have things all the time where you go in and they have the,
One day liquor license.
Yep, usually they're 1 or 2 day things.
whatever they do, they have pop-ups, they have all
They
those
have
vendors in there and they have.
Yeah, the stickers, yeah.
Idea. I'm just wondering about that level of funding and that level of commitment without knowing if the folks downtown are really gonna engage.
I think bringing them in next meeting, they'll have to convince us.
I mean, I think that's a challenge, not just in Wakefield, anywhere, and it's probably something they can speak to about how they've dealt with maybe more difficult property owners, because they're vacant for a reason a lot of the time, so they've been able to break into some of these places. They may have best practices that have worked for them in the past, and can answer that. And going back to breweries real quick, while we're kind of talking about that, was talking to 2 people and they said kind of the brewery, I don't know if this is true, and maybe they're not misunderstood, the industry is kind of slowing down. Is there truth to that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, there was so much hype around craft brewing, and anyone with a garage and all the, you know, various things they need to do to set it up will do it. And then one guy thinks your beer is good. The next thing you know, they have a brewery. But there's a lot of components to it that they didn't look into, and or a lot of breweries expand too fast. That's a big hurdle that I'm trying to get over right now. They obviously want to be here for a certain period of time. They want a certain market share, and it's like, they love the idea of it. They definitely want to open a tap room, XYZ location. And that's basically like me being a cheerleader, be like, come over here, you know, something, you know, potentially in a dream world with a lake view, who knows? But the industry in general, that you see it pretty frequently on like restaurant closure emails and all that stuff. Breweries fall into that. Another one bites the dust. I'm looking for one that, like 1 or 2 that have been here for at least 5+ years, and, you know, just make quality products, people will come to it.
To that same alcohol, and what about distilleries?
Well, I mean, I'm not looking to, so to speak, drown the town, you know what I mean? Like, I'm looking for a place for people to go to and enjoy and relax, just like Rocco said, when